All right, now we get to jump into article number 2. Article number 1 was the meatiest of the articles. There was a lot that we covered in there. And if you haven't seen it, make sure to check that video out. There was a lot of stuff going on with the setup of the United States and the different jurisdictions, different states, and the laws within those states and the permissions that they have and how they elect their people, so on and so forth. So now we're going to go into Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution. Or Article 2, Section 1. The executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America. He shall hold his office during the term of 4 years, and together with the Vice President, chosen for the same term, be elected as follows. Each state shall appoint in such a manner as the legislature thereof may direct a number of electors equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled in the Congress. But no senator or representative or person holding an office of trust or profit under the United States shall be appointed an elector. Okay? It's a rule. The electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for 2 persons, of whom one at least shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves, which we talked about in the rules for somebody being a representative of the state is that they can't be an inhabitant, etc. And they shall make a list of all the persons voted for and of the number of votes for each, which list they shall sign and certify and transmit sealed to the seat of government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate. The President of the Senate, which would be the Vice President, shall in the presence of the Senate and House open all the certificates, and the votes shall be then counted. The person having the greatest number of votes shall be the President, if such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if there be more than one, who have such majority and have an equal number of votes, then the House of Reps shall immediately choose by ballot one of them for president. And if no person has a majority, then from the 5 highest on the list, said the House, shall in like manner choose the president. Let's read that one more time, because this is very, very important to understand if we're talking about the voting system of the United States, okay? This is like, it just declared the loopholes through which the House can essentially manipulate the voting system, okay? So here we go. The President of the Senate shall in the President's, one more time, excuse me. The President of the Senate, Vice President of the United States, shall, in the presence of the Senate and House of Representatives, open all the certificates and votes shall be counted, okay? The person with the highest number of votes shall be the president. If such number, by a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if there is more than one who has such a majority and have an equal number of votes, then the House of Representatives, goodness, we'll just call them the House from now on, shall immediately choose by ballot one of them for president. So the House gets to vote. What did I just do? I clicked on the thing. The House gets to vote if there's more than one person. So let's say they said, oh, there's more than one person that has, high votes, and there isn't a majority, okay? They immediately choose by ballot one of those people for president. And if no person has a majority, then from the 5 highest people on the list, the House gets to choose the president. So, who are the most influential people in the House? They're probably going to run the country. And they're probably going to say, oh, this is going to be president. It's interesting to point out, okay? And who is, by the way, the president? Okay, where's the thing right here? The president of the Senate, who is, as we talked about in Article 1, the president of the Senate is the Vice President of the United States. Okay? The Vice President of the United States is the president of the Senate. Whew. Okay. Anyways, Well, actually, so it's the president of the Senate, and then the House gets to choose House of Representatives, and then there was a. Okay, no, I'm right. Yeah. Okay, we're good. Okay. But in choosing the president, the votes shall be taken by states, the representation from each state having one vote. A quorum of this purpose shall consist of a member or members from 2/3 of the states, and a majority of all the states shall be necessary to a choice. In every case, after the choice of the president, the person having the greatest number of votes of the electors shall be the vice president. But if there should remain 2 or more who have equal votes, the Senate shall choose from them by ballot the vice president. So the House gets to choose from ballot the president, the Senate gets to choose from ballot the vice president. Okay? The Congress may determine the time of choosing of electors and the day on which they shall give their votes, which they shall be the same throughout the United States. No person except a natural-born citizen or a citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of the Constitution shall be eligible of the office of president. Neither shall any person be eligible for that office who shall not have attained at the age of 35 years, being 14 years resident within the United States. Okay. In case of the removal of the president from office, in case of impeachment, or of his death, resignation, or inability to discharge the powers and duties of the said office, the same shall devolve on the vice president, and the Congress may by law provide for the case of removal, death, resignation, or ability, both of the president and vice president, declaring that officer shall act as a president, and such officer shall act accordingly until the disability be removed or a president shall be elected. Okay. At the time of this video, the president of the United States is Joe Biden. He is, in the opinions of a lot of people, disabled. He should not be president. He should not be running one of the most powerful political offices on planet Earth. Okay? So, the vice president currently is Kamala Harris. Okay? I don't know, as well as I feel like I should. I've seen a lot of media covering of Kamala Harris and her history, but I'm sure she's a nice person, and I don't know her personally, so I'm not going to make judgments like that. But if we were to look at this thing, and if we were to look at the agendas of the world and the agenda of the United States, it's like what the laws in the Constitution are stating, and you put this person in office, because we now see the election process of the president and how it can be tweaked and changed, and people can actually have influence by a house choosing who they want ultimately, but like internally they can vote and say, yeah, these people had very average votes, or there was no clear majority between these candidates, and so we choose. They could say that, right? And how are we gonna know? We don't know. So they can do all of those things, and without going too deep into conspiracy theory, I'm already down the rabbit hole, but it's kind of obvious when you read the documentation. I mean, I'm not even finished reading it, but it's like when you read it, it's kind of obvious what's happening and what they're doing. The president shall at stated times receive for his services a compensation which shall neither be increased nor diminished during the period for which he has been selected. He shall not receive within that period any other compensation from the United States or any of them. Okay. Before he enter the execution of his office, he shall take the following oath of affirmation. Oh my gosh, what's happening? Following oath or affirmation. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Section 2. Article 2, Section 2. The President, let's bring it down here. The President shall be Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and of the militia of the several states which called into actual service of the United States. At the time of this video, President Joe Biden no wonder he's, oh my gosh. If you knew that your competition had a commander-in-chief who could barely walk and could barely string words and sentences together, of course you would plot against that competitor. It would be silly of our competitors to not plot against us when we are currently with a commander-in-chief who is who he is. Just saying. The president shall be the commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy. Okay, whatever, we got it. He may require the opinion in writing of the principal officer in each of the executive departments upon any subject relating to the duties of their respective offices, and he shall have the power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. Interesting. He shall have power by and with the advice and consent of the Senate to make treaties, provide 2/3 of the senators present concur, and he shall nominate and by with the advice and consent of the Senate shall appoint ambassadors or other public ministers and consuls, judges of the Supreme Court, and other officers of the United States, whose appointments are here there provided for, which shall be established by law, by the Congress, and by any law vest the appointment of such inferior officers as they think proper in the president alone in the course of law or in the heads of the departments. The president shall have the power to fill up all vacancies that may happen during the recess of the Senate by granting commissions which shall expire at the end of their session. Okay, so these are the main powers of the president, it seems. Section 3, Article 2, Section 3. He shall from time to time give to the Congress information of the Senate of the Union. The State of the Union. He shall from time to time give to the Congress information of the State of the Union, and recommend to their consideration such measures as he shall judge necessary and expedient. He may, on extraordinary occasions, convene both houses, or either of them, and in case of disagreement between them with respect to the time of adjournment, he may adjourn them to such time as he shall think proper. He shall receive ambassadors and other public ministers. He shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed, and shall commission all the officers of the United States. If you have a president who is not of the right mind and cannot make such decisions because of the simple fact that he's not of the right mind, then of course, based on what this document is saying, those who are around him can make those decisions for him, because he has been given all of the power to make all of these decisions. And through this document, if he's not of the place that he can't make, and I mean, it's like, I don't think that they knew what they were saying when they wrote this. And I'm leaving room for the amendments. We haven't gone through the amendments yet, and I'm just interested to see how much of this specific article is going to be talking about the amendments, or how much of this specific article is going to be amended through the amendments. My mind is blown when I read this, and I'm like, no freaking wonder the U.S. is where it's at. When you read through the Constitution, it blows your freaking mind. Okay. Jesus Christ. Okay, excuse me. Moving on. Section 4, Article 2, Section 4. The President, Vice President, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. So, reading through Article 2 has been quite eye-opening. Article 1 was very meaty, and it talks about the Senate and the state and the House and the whatever and all of that stuff. But this specific article has been very eye-opening, specifically because of the fact that we are in a very interesting time in the United States. The United States, our current president at the time of this video, and the way that we're viewed by the world, and the way that international news refers to us, and not even just international news, the way that a lot of thought leaders in America talk about America and our current president, is just, when you just read the Constitution, and you're like, oh, no freaking wonder. So this was very eye-opening for me. I hope this was eye-opening for you. Please read through this as well. And, leave comments based on your takeaways, so on and so forth. And yeah, very, very eye-opening. Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution. Very, very eye-opening. Okay, moving on to Article 3.